Welcome back, everybody. I came across a flat earther named Flat Earth Banjo who put out a challenge to for any glober to find a photo or video of a satellite taken from space. Okay, so let's dive into this. He claims that there are no photos from space of satellites, but he's right, but he's wrong as well. There are 2,266 active satellites and 2,000 dead satellites. 1,918 of that are in low Earth orbit. Most satellites orbit from 400 to 600 kilometers above the surface of the Earth and are considered low Earth orbit. Now this is a representation of all the satellites in orbit. Okay, again, this is a representation. This is not to scale. It looks crowded, but it's actually not, and I'm going to show you why. The amount of space at 4,266 total satellites, including the dead ones, is 0.004266 cubic kilometers. Keep that number in mind. The total volume of the orbital sphere of satellites is 637 million cubic kilometers. So that means that all of the volume of the satellites takes up 0.0000000.3% of the space of the orbital sphere. That is very, very small. To put that in perspective, it is the equivalent of a grain of sand to the space of a meter-wide beach ball. The information I gave you before, please keep that in mind. So here is Flat Earth Banjo's challenge. Please listen carefully.
Hello my friends, this is a challenge for pilots and for all globe Earth believers. Again, this is not a challenge just for pilots, it's a challenge for all globe believers. I challenge you to find real satellites from space. I have challenged Wolfie 6020 to provide me or everybody else images of real satellites from space. What I told him, I'm telling everyone right now, all you have to do is this. Go to Google, type satellites from space, images, and try to find real satellites, images of real satellites in space, not CGI. Not computer-generated images like these ones right here. Since they say there are thousands of satellites orbiting Earth, it should be an easy task. There are geostationary satellites making images of Earth, and in between those geostationary satellites that's supposed to be at 22,000 miles or 36,000 kilometers, and Earth, there are thousands and thousands of satellites in between. Those satellites, stationary satellites, should be able to see images of satellites in space. So this is a challenge.
Okay, let's look into Google and see what we can find with pictures of satellites from space. As you can see, yeah, he's right. The majority of these, about 99.9% of them, are CGI or renditions. Okay, but here's a real one right here that I pulled out. It's actually a photo of the International Space Station. There it is right there. That's taken from space. So that's considered a satellite, the ISS. So there you have it. There's one right there. Okay, let's look for some more satellites, okay? Let's keep looking down here. Okay, that's a real picture of the moon right there with the satellite right there orbiting the moon. So that's real. But okay, let's scroll down even more. Let's find a couple. Oh, look at there's one right there. Look at that. There's a satellite. That's a real photo of a satellite. I'm going to show you a little later why in the video of it as well. There you go. There's two photos right there of a satellite in space. There's a few more as you see the moon. Pictures of the moon are real, obviously, but a lot of the satellites obviously are CGI. The majority of them are. I get it. And I'm going to explain to you why you really don't see satellites from space except on the few rare occasions where you get lucky. Okay? So, let's dive right into this. Oh, that's real too. Yep, that's definitely real, the moon landing. Okay, let's get serious now and dive right into this. Why we don't see satellites from space the majority of the time, or why there are not that many pictures of them. The main reason why we don't see many photos of satellites from space is partly due to their spacing, their orbits, as well as their apsis, which is perigee and apogee. Now bear in mind, the farthest satellites out are the geostationary satellites, which are about 36,000 kilometers from the Earth's equator. Okay, for the analogy, place a softball inside the middle of a meter-wide beach ball and cut the sand grain into 4,266 pieces and space them out evenly around the softball that is inside the beach ball. This is equal to the spacing of satellites around the Earth. This is just an analogy. Satellites are spaced far apart in order to prevent collision with other satellites. This is just common sense. Now the distances between satellites vary, anywhere from 70 kilometers to 200 kilometers apart. Any photo of a satellite would only be an unrecognizable dot. Okay, on the rare occasion, astronauts will see a satellite floating by, like this one filmed by Russian cosmonaut Oleg Artemyev, taken from the ISS in space. Yes, this is one of the very few videos showing a satellite taken from space. There you have it.